I know that human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Hello and welcome to the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast. Here at Spoilt Milk, we like to discuss, destroy and dissect guilty pleasure movies and decide whether they're truly spoilt milk or if they've ascended into a fine, luxurious cheese. So without further ado, here we go. Welcome back. Here it is, part one of Spoilt Milk's movie podcast where we're going to be discussing Mallrats. So we've gone through our top threes and now we're going on to the feature film. So Katty, what's the film all about?
So this is a lovely film from 1995.
Oh, is it 95?
Yeah, 95.
I thought it was newer than
It
that.
seems like both of you are trying to do like a talk show in the style of 1995.
I don't know what you're talking about.
95?
Let's muse on this film.
Yep, so 1995. Yeah, boss of that. 1995, Kevin Smith, two guys, busy mates, both get dumped by the girlfriends on the same day. Shock horror.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? I know what all...
The good old Ghostbusters catchphrase. What are you going to do?
what all, like, I don't know, they're supposed to be, like, in college, so what, 20, 21?
I've got no idea. I feel like these guys look older than I do now, and I'm 34.
Well, they're in college.
I mean, or whatever age.
They're in college because part of the way through the film they go through like other things about what they're going to do after college
Oh, yeah.
without spoiling too much. So they're in college, so they're going to be like, what, 19, 20? It's like, oh yeah, 19, 20-year-old, I know what I'm going to do. I'm off to a shopping centre. Or the mall, as the Americans would call it.
Wow. So the two guys then have both been dumped. We've got TS.
Yep,
Do we ever find out what TS stands for?
the shit.
I was just going to say the shit. So he's T.S. Quinn, and then there's Brody. Is he called Brody Bruce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a few people call him Bruce throughout the film, don't they?
Yeah.
There are two main guys. Now, I'm just got to let you know, the version that I watched this time round for the podcast was not the version that I'm familiar with. Yeah, I downloaded it from the internet, and it must have been some kind of extended cut. And it started with this big elaborate scene in like a college. Did you see that version? Hammond?
I had exactly the same experience because I'm sure, as with you, I've got the DVD which I nailed. Not nailed.
If you can fit it in that little circle in the middle,
Thumbing it in.
you've got a problem.
I thoroughly pleasured that disc.
Tell us about how you nailed it.
I honestly Hammond. I don't know.
I
getting
wore mine
worse.
out. I wore my DVD.
Yeah, if
out.
it was a VHS, it would have been like essentially,
Snapping.
yeah, it would have been done because I watched it so many times. But I was just very lazy in regards to I haven't had my DVDs out for ages because
I don't even have a DVD player.
You don't have a.
Look behind you.
Do you have
There is no DVD
a computer?
player. Yeah, but the DVD drive doesn't work. I've got a laptop, and it doesn't have a DVD drive that works on it.
I still have a VHS player.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Did you watch Mallrats on your VHS?
I
player?
didn't. I watched Mallrats on DVD.
We need to go around to yours and watch a
Yeah.
VHS.
Don't ever watch a VHS on a 4K TV. Do not ever do that.
Oh my,
Is it
that
like-
sounds amazing.
It's disgusting. It's like you're trying to watch a video through like three people's windows
Oh, God.
whilst drunk and methed up.
A good night for me.
That's good, yeah.
Just a
normally watching
standard night.
TV
Through
shop
someone's
windows.
yeah.
Drunk, meffed up.
That's standard.
Yeah,
That's just
outside
Tuesday.
Meadow Hall in one of the alcoves.
With a rat.
Yeah, with a pin in it, as we established earlier. So I was just far too lazy. I've got a big thing of DVDs somewhere. Couldn't be bothered. Couldn't find it on Netflix. Couldn't find it on Amazon Prime.
No, it's nowhere.
So I got a stream from a very reputable source.
Oh yeah, legal, reputable.
And this is where, and I found out this is the 10th anniversary they did for a DVD release. So that's why I'd never seen it before. I didn't feel the need to rebuy Mallrats because I didn't even know they re-released.
No, I didn't.
But yeah, and these were like original scenes that they. And as you can, I realised from watching it, they cut out a hell of a lot to get it down to the 90-minute runtime, and also just they fixed a lot of stuff.
Oh my god, you are lucky, Katty, that you watched this version because this weird 10th anniversary version was bad. Like the bits that they cut out were bad. The cuts I'm not sure if it was the same with you, where it just cut halfway through like a scene, so people would be standing there and then they just like move a different position.
I think because they weren't like working from raw footage that they had, so they had like deleted scenes, but they still had to mesh it in with the existing footage because there's only some scenes that they had maybe an alternative take, which you could tell where it's a scene that like you're very familiar with, and you know how you've got them almost memorized. You're very familiar with, but it's very slightly off, and it's because it's the same scene, just a different take of it.
What?
Yeah, it's very. But the majority of the film is the same. There's just the start is
I'd
massively
say
different.
80% of the film is the same.
Yeah,
I'd say there's a good 20%, which if you think about how long the film is, 20% of
That's a lot.
different stuff.
the majority of that 20% is the start. It's like a 10-minute opening that drags.
Oh, it's so bad. So basically, it starts with Svenning, the dad, Michael Rooker, and he's...
Is he naked?
No, he's trying to get like a deal for a television program.
Okay.
He wants his television program to be on Prime TV, and he's at a governess's ball, and he's trying to like basically be a little shitty prick and get some money out of this woman. And then
she's smashed.
Yeah, she's drunk. And then on a rooftop, T.S. and Brandy are together. She's stargazing. Didn't even know she was a stargazer.
Yeah, she was doing research on supernovas.
Yeah.
And she had borrowed someone's telescope, which was apparently much better for supernova gazing.
Yeah, but it allowed them to get like a shaft joke in.
Yeah.
And then he's dressed up. T.S. is about to do a musical for his school. Singing a musical, and he's dressed up like a Civil War reenactment, and he's got a musket, and basically they end up firing a blank, and then these FBI agents or whatever shoot back at them, and the dad loses his TV deal, and it is utter dog shit.
It sounds
it makes the TS character worse because he's like a really pervy, touchy-feely frat guy in this. Like, he keeps saying to Brandy how they should just fuck.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a thirsty bitch anyway.
Hey. But as well, they like set him up. Like the dad character is talking to him. He's like, you don't know what it's like to work for a living. You're a rich boy who's been handed everything. Yeah. And I was watching it thinking, he's a rich boy in that plaid shirt or whatever.
He didn't dress like it.
No, but they kind of make him out as if he's... When you watched it then, Katty, the version you've seen, did you think, oh, that fucking rich boy TS?
At no point did I think, oh, that rich boy TS.
But they had this weird subplot about him... Everything handed to him on a silver spoon.
And the thing about this intro is the actual theatrical cut, the good version.
Yeah.
There's still bits they couldn't cut out. So every now and then, there's bits where they mention like the governor's ball, which is in the original. And there's a bit, where that guy later on in the film, which we'll get to, where he gets smacked for no reason.
He runs up to him in the car park. Yeah, but I love it in the original and in the theatrical one. He runs up and he's like, "Did you get dumped by Brandy Svenning?" And he like punches him. But really, he's like that in this weird cut. He's been like harassed all the way through about this gun going off, and the news are following him.
Yeah,
it's really bad. Shall we get on with the film that we've all seen?
Yeah, I'm just sat here like, muskets and stuff.
How does it start then? Because I was watching it, I was like, how does it start?
So you've got TS pulls up to
the hamster story first. The gerbil, sorry.
No,
That's the
What, with
opening
his
monologue,
cousin
isn't
Walt?
it?
Is he talking about his
Am I-
cousin Walt?
Yes, cousin
Am I
Walt.
wrong? Yeah. I thought it was the opening monologue and then the intro and then it's the car pulling up. Or is it the car pulling up first and then the...
I thought it was a car pulling up.
I think that starts it, but is Thingy doing a voiceover?
No, so that I thought that comes afterwards,
Right.
and then you go into the comic book scenes.
Yeah, 'cause
with
that's
the opening, and
good
then
opening.
you've got Brody getting banged on Ed.
Yeah. So he's in bed with
Yeah.
Shannon
Rennie.
Doty. Rennie. Yeah.
That's the same.
But the whole beginning bit where they're outside his house and they're having that argument, and the girl who dies in a pool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
because
just got removed in this shit version that I watched. Yeah.
That's a really good moment.
Yeah, it
isn't
is. Yeah.
that's the whole point of why What's Her Face is doing the TV show.
Yeah, exactly. But in this version, she's just like, yeah, I'm doing it. Because her dad's like, will you?
Yeah. She's already doing it and they have an argument about it.
Yeah.
And then there's an extra scene after the credits where they go back and have the same argument again, essentially. And that's where you see the naked dad. It's a mess.
I really was like, oh, sweet, a different version. I really wish I'd have watched the first version. Just a little bit of backstory for me. Mallrats was one of those films that just, you know those films when you're like a certain age and it calls to you.
Yeah.
That sounds really like cheesy, but you're like, I don't know, I was probably like a teenager, 18 or whatever, and this was a teen comedy about like kids who spent the day in the mall and smoked weed and spoke really eloquently, and
That annoyed the shit out of me.
It did now. But at the time, I was like, "Oh my god, these guys are like my heroes."
Oh, how that annoyed you?
It's like,
It
who
did a
talks
bit.
like that? Who
Yeah.
actually talks like that?
It's not necessarily that you necessarily need to talk specifically like that. It's I don't know. I kind of like the idea of them being a bit more expressive than an act. Because if you don't have that, you get teenager talk, which is just like.
There's being expressive,
My
and then
balls hurt.
there's using phrases and words that no one would ever use.
If you watch the shit version opening, TS is more like using normal teenager shitty dickhead phrases. I think.
Apparently, he's played by, is it Jeremy London? Because he's one of the twins, isn't he?
Okay.
It's Jason London and Jeremy London.
I did not
And
know.
I think it's Jason. Oh, what did I say? One of them is in Dazed and Confused. Have you seen Dazed and Confused?
Yeah.
And then the other one was in Party of Five. And he's the one from Party of Five is the one that's in Mallrats. And apparently,
Couldn't afford the better one.
he couldn't, but he couldn't get the dialogue, and they kept having to be like, "Cut, film it again," and they're like, "Come on, London," and he had to like say it again. So he struggled with it, and he was probably about 40.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like some of the phrases and stuff that they were using, I was just like, no one speaks like that ever. Like ever.
I
This
think
is like
because
such.
They set everything else really grounded. It gave you that freedom to speak a little bit differently. And you say that, but Kevin Smith wrote this in this time. He wasn't much
that's true.
older. And this is how... I wouldn't say no one speaks like that. I just probably... It's a weird mix of worlds where it's maybe like a private school mixed with a public school education type deal.
Well, shall we get back onto the story then? So they both got dumped. There's that scene at the beginning where he's playing his Sega.
Yeah, not
Exactly
Jason
what
Lee.
you said about it just reaching out to you. Just the opening bit where they essentially wake up and Brody's at first like go back to sleep, and then when he realises he can't go back to sleep, starts playing on his Mega Drive. Just,
yeah.
that's for life.
That's a Sega Genesis.
Oh,
For
is it
our
Genesis?
That's for our American
Oh,
listeners.
okay.
And then she dumps him through a letter and gives him a proper soliloquy.
The whole thing about going into the toilet and bawling her
beating.
eyes out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, who goes into the toilet to bathe?
Hobo goes into the bog every morning and beals about the fact that he's not like feeding the hungry or whatever.
It's just like
fucking Jason
I'm
Lee.
feeding him hungry every time I eat.
Oh, she's not fucking Jason Lee.
Oh yeah. And then she climbs out the window, doesn't she?
Yeah, it's just like, oh well, like I'm thinking about flight navigators and doctors and that.
No,
it's like I do
flight
not think
navigator.
about that while I'm in the toilet. Like, read a book.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. I mean, you
Not
haven't got
DS.
a smartphone, so it's all right. It's the 90s, but like
She's
Tekken.
a teen, that's air quotes, who's hit that existential period where I think everything's deep and meaningful.
At no point did I go to the toilet and think, you know what, I'm going to go in here while I should be having a piss, and I'm just going to bafe about flight navigators.
But did you never listen to maybe some Incubus back in the day and think, oh man, life, man.
Not in the toilet. Not in the toilet.
I think you're focusing too much on like that's just a mechanism for. You know,
She only had access to 2 rooms, Brody's basement and a toilet.
she had to avoid the mum.
The mum.
So she dumps him via letter. He frames it, which I liked. I like that
yeah.
little
10
touch.
out of 10.
I do have a note saying
and then-
let her win.
And then what? TS turns up. He's also in the framing business. as
He is in the
says.
framing business.
And Brody decides, yeah, that is a good line. And Brody decides that they need to go to the mall.
I loved how he referred to his basement room as the locker.
Yeah. There's just some really good lines in this.
Yeah.
I liked where the brief conversation they had about why they thought they broke up with him. It's like, because
Yeah.
you can have a film where the two protagonists are only focusing on the whys and stuck in that, where they take that and take you out into this other world while they're working through the shit. But just the line of the fact that he thought it was because he farted while getting drunk. I was like, that's a genuine worry when you get
Do you know what though? When I was younger, I was
You farted whilst getting a blowjob.
all the time.
all the time. When I was younger, I was like, yes, Brody is the man. She's a bitch, whatever. She's so mardy for like dumping him. This time watching it, I was like, actually, he's a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she's right to dump him. Like, he's a late about he gets up. I'm like, I get up at 7 every day. He should be up as well.
He don't put out.
No, he doesn't.
If anything,
He farts.
by
Well,
like,
He lives with his mum.
Yeah.
you're not sure what his redeeming qualities are.
He's got some sweet comic books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
He's got a
And-
good Tremors
But you
poster.
could just be like his buddy, like TS. She could just hang out with him and get access to those comic books as long as she abides by the rules.
But maybe he's got like, he wants payment in like tit squeezes or something.
We'll definitely get onto tit squeezers later. So they get together. Brody Bruce, great name by the way. Sounds very comic book, doesn't it?
Double B.
They decide
Yes,
to go
that's
to the
fun.
mall, and we're introduced to some quality characters as soon as we get
Yes.
to the mall. Ben Affleck. I mean, I love Ben Affleck.
I hate that.
I
Batfleck,
fucking love
Oh.
Ben Affleck.
also
Forever
known as
he.
Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon
Shannon.
Hamilton. He forever gets a pass for me. Like, he can make all the daredevils he wants. He will always have a special place in my heart.
No, every single character that he plays is basically just Shannon.
No, it was at one point. Like, yeah,
And
in
you
Dazed
pulled
and
me
Confused.
apart about Will Smith.
Yeah.
And now you're here defending. What about Paycheck?
Ben Affleck has won 2 Oscars.
Oh,
Paycheck.
How
woo.
many is
Paycheck.
Wild Wild West? We can do this all night. We can do this all
Wild
night.
Wild West is
But-
more redeemable than Paycheck.
No, it isn't. For every bad film you can throw at me for Ben Affleck, I can answer 2-fold for Will Smith.
Did Ben Affleck sing the theme tune to Paycheck?
Exactly. I'm glad that you're on my side with
No,
this.
no.
Exactly. Fucking pulling Little Britain jokes out here. No, I love Ben Affleck. Not only because of like the roles that are not so great, but if you listen to things like audio commentaries with Ben Affleck, he is fucking sick. Like when he goes, have you heard the Armageddon commentary?
You can like him as a person.
I do like him as a person.
That's fine. But that's not a reason to excuse his bad
is.
film.
I feel like he'd try and sell me windows
All right, okay then. He'd probably just try and fuck you.
in the really
Yeah.
uncomfortable position.
Like the back of a Volkswagen. No, I love Ben Affleck despite his dodgily big suit. And he's Shannon Hamilton who fucks people
That
in
was
an
the style
uncomfortable
at
place.
the time.
And then
Weirdly baggy clothes.
Yeah.
and we
Even
see
suits.
Ethan Suplee as Willem.
Oh, Willem.
Yeah.
With his lunch in his bag and his dirty shirt.
His mustard stains.
His role is so small but so beautiful.
Yeah,
I
it
love
is.
it.
It's really poignant.
Yeah. He just nails it. Every beat, every small scene he gets, nails it.
Do you know what? There's a lot of characters in this film.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it now compared to, say, Clerks, which is mainly a two-hander with like 3 or 4 other people coming
Yeah.
in. You're laughing at two-hander.
Skiing.
With a few people popping in now and again. There's a lot of characters in this.
Yeah. And I like how it's staggered though. You don't meet them all at the same time. It's like you meet some at the beginning, some in the middle, some at the end.
And there's all the interactions in this. The thing that, I mean, Kevin Smith has always acknowledged it is that any film he's written is always very dialogue heavy because he doesn't know action as well, but he knows dialogue.
Used to be. Used to be. Like, when you watch things like Tusk,
Yeah.
like the dialogue, the standard of dialogue in Tusk is not even it doesn't even come close to this.
See, I preferred the dialogue in Tusk. To me, it flowed a little more than, I'm like 20 and I'm talking like I'm some sort of 40-year-old educational person.
Especially, what is it, Michael Parks's? I mean, to be fair, his bit in Red State as well.
But I like Red State, but
Yeah.
again, the dialogue's not so good.
No.
Not as good as what he used to be like.
No, I wouldn't say that. Red State in particular, I really love.
His dialogue's never been better than Clerks.
Clerks is great.
Dogma.
Oh, and Dogma. Fuck me.
Dogma.
Dogma.
Yeah, Dogma's got some great
Dogma's
stuff
probably
in
his best dialogue, I'd say.
it. I think Clerks it scrapes it, but that is like close.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've
We'll
got,
agree to disagree.
yeah. So we go in. We've got Willem looking at his magic eye of a sailboat or a
A schooner.
schooner.
I thought a schooner was like a sherry glass.
No, it's in a schooner like a 2/3 of a pint.
Yeah. You're right about it being a glass, but
Yeah,
it's
but
2/3.
yeah.
If you've ever gone to like a beer festival and they're like, "Oh, do you want a schooner?" Like, first time-
Yeah, and they're like, that's £5.
Yeah.
And you cry in the bathroom. That's what I cry in the bathroom about.
The
Not
price of
about-
pints.
Yeah, or a schooner.
It's not even a full pint though, is it?
Guess who comes in after that?
La Force, Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent
Yes.
Bob.
It does annoy me that they're punching the window with them kittens though.
Oh, the poor kittens. They didn't seem
But that's
bothered.
Jay thinking he's being nice. He's showing them some love. It's just Jay's a bit.
Yeah,
violent.
it's like punches some windows and then busts out into some sort of sweet dance move. And I do like how both Jay and Silent Bob are wearing 2 pairs of shorts.
Yeah,
like
what
a
was
white
that?
one and then some black ones over the top.
They're like vests.
Was that a normal thing in the 90s?
It was like the
wasn't for me.
90s grunge thing, weren't it, though? Like, Jay had big, like, para boots on and shorts and, like, long hair. It's like a bit of a grungy kind of thing.
Do you know what? I was really worried watching this again that I would hate Jay and Silent Bob. And I thought I'd watch it again and be like, oh, the film's quite good, but Jay and Silent Bob are annoying as fuck.
Nope.
No, I love Jay and Silent Bob in this.
Jay and Silent Bob was so good.
They were.
Even though, I mean, you can tell Jason Mewes' acting has got better over like.
Oh, definitely.
But no, they were good. They were good. Just and again, like Willem, like the neat little characters in their own bubble, but interacting with. Perfect.
I just love the whole, like, him pretending to be in a mosh pit. And it's just like, Brody's there grabbing hold of him and throwing him back in. And it just, as a person, to meet on the street, they'd piss me off.
Yeah.
But as characters in a film, they're so good.
Yeah, if you saw those people in the bit where he's, like I love comic books and the bit where he's like reenacting Wolverine's Berserker raid. Watching it, I'm fucking loving that. If I saw that in the street.
You'd think they were on meth.
Yeah. Well, Jay probably was.
You smoking bath salts.
Yeah, he was fucked, wasn't he, for like most of his.
Yeah, he was like
20s.
addicted to heroin and stuff, weren't he?
Oxycontin, and it was the last thing that I think he almost died on the worst. Like that's when Kevin Smith started the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old as a way to talk through all his experience as a way of his own rehab sort of thing.
Yeah.
He got really badly fucked on Oxycontin.
It looks like banging now, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would.
What'd you do?
I would have a double or menage a trois with Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Just to cross it off the list.
A double-hander.
What you didn't see was some great hand movements. And on that note, we'll call it a day for part 1, and we'll be back shortly with part 2.
You know what? There is no Easter Bunny! Over there, that's just a guy in a suit!
Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Spoilt Milk movie podcast, Mallrats podcast. That's two lots of podcasts there.
Is that going to be clean enough with Katty, like, pissing herself in the background?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
You're just laughing about mincemeat, weren't you?
Yeah.
The normal thing that we laugh about in our off time. Mincemeat!
The sweet, not the savoury.
Yeah, the sweet, not the savoury.
Obviously, there's a difference. One is much more serious.
There's nothing funny about savoury mincemeat. So let's pick up where we left off, which is somewhere I can't remember. We were talking about
We finished talking about Jay and Silent
Jay and Silent Bob, hadn't
Yeah.
we? And how well, Katty, why were they there? What did TS and Brody have to get from Jay and Silent Bob?
So they had to go and get them to agree to sabotage the dating show.
Oh, we haven't talked about the dating show.
We haven't talked about the dating
Bit of
show.
sabotage.
Sabotage. So
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. So we're sabotaging the dating show that is it Brandy?
Brandy, yeah.
Brandy's dad
yeah.
is the host
Mr.
of.
Shrenning.
So this is the one with
Isn't Sean Connery just for any listeners?
this is the one that like TS is like fat shamed some girl to a point that she's like had an embolism in like the swimming pool and she's died. So Brandy's just like, oh yeah, I'll do the show for your dad. Don't worry, I'll sort you out. I've got your back.
The actress delivery on that line, by the way, about how the woman got fat shamed is like beautiful. It's in the intro. It's just like she was like really fat, and she just
She had the
don't
biggest
remember.
ass.
yeah, that was it. And
Yeah.
it's just there's something about the way she delivered that. It cracked me up.
But
every
she's
time.
like ridiculously British, isn't she? That's Claire Forlani.
Yes, it is.
Star of The Rock, yes. But she's like ridiculous. Like, oh, I'm so
Sean
terribly
Connery.
with Sean Connery. Yes. Because again, we talk about this a lot, but the best thing about Sean Connery is when he's in Highlander and he's like, I'm Spanish. But Claire Forlani, star of The Rock, she's ridiculous British. Like, if you see her, like, in other films, she's like, I'm so terribly posh.
Oh me.
And then she's delivering lines about a fat ass.
She's in
Yeah.
Meet Joe Black in it, where
She is, yeah.
Brad Pitt gets smashed
Run
about.
over, yeah.
Brad Pitty.
Brad, that's what you call him. when you
Pity
have
the
sex with
pity.
him.
So she's going on the game show,
Yeah.
and Jay and Silent Bob are there to
They're there to
ruin
sabotage it.
Yeah.
So because Brody and TS have been seen in the mall, and TS is trying to like win back Brandy, it's like, oh well, we can't do it because we'll get blamed for it. Then Brandy will never forgive me because her dad hates me and he only
logic.
thinks I'm a belle. So
And because otherwise he's a stand-up perfect human being. To
Yeah.
us.
yeah,
That's all I had.
okay.
Stared at my head, man.
Like come on, like, explanations.
Yeah, just let that,
Why do you hate him?
simmer for a while.
Is it the sweet sweet curtains?
Oh, I wrote in my notes curtains, just to the side of everything, just curtains. Yeah, so him and his curtains, they want to sabotage it because he loves Brandy.
Yeah, he
And
wants to wife her up.
back. He wants to wife her up on the Jaws ride, doesn't
Which is a pretty sweet proposal.
he? Yeah. Loads of people seem to be annoyed by that. I think that's a pretty sweet proposal.
Sharks.
Yeah.
That's the most romantic
Right.
thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Shame he's not trying to wife you up.
Oh, Brad Pitty.
Good old Brad Pitt. If he could propose to me when shark jumps out of the water, that's the dream.
But Gwen's,
Also a house is a
Gwen seems keen, though.
Oh,
Gwen seems
little
like
Gwen.
dead up for a bit of TS.
But Gwen, we've not spoke about Gwen.
Sorry.
Gwen gets burst into, bless her, in changing rooms twice.
Twice, yeah.
By Silent Bob while he's trying to sabotage stuff.
The second time, sabotage.
Sabotage.
The second time, we get some tits. just to put it out there.
It's not full tit though, is it? You can't see
No,
nip.
full tit. Yeah, no.
full tit.
This film, I kind of forgot. It's got more tits in it than I realised.
I watched this at work.
I'm
I
really
had to
sorry.
minimise my screen a couple of times.
But the
full
fact
tit.
that Hobo said, we get some tit. Like, we get a little treat.
You don't get porn on the streets.
Yeah, that's true.
The most I'm used to is some little rat nipples.
Which you are gladly happy to milk.
Suck along. That's normally the sound of the streets. Following a romantic night.
Yeah, so she gets bussed in on twice. And then she's... What is her role in this film?
So Gwen is like, she's like mates with everyone, isn't she? She's a bit of a
she
slut and like, she likes cock.
Yeah, so she's basically like, what's that little cricket that hangs around with Pinocchio, who loves cock?
Jiminy Cricket.
Jiminy Cricket,
We've
yeah.
watched different Pinocchios.
His head is basically just one big green bell end, though, isn't it? But is she kind of supposed to be like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, the problem
Like the
is,
conscience?
As much as I love this film and Kevin Smith, like especially this early in his career, is he's always a very good supporter of women, but early in his career he had you can tell he had different views of like these were the kind of interactions he'd had with women because like Renee and Gwen were both different types of the same thing where
Yeah.
he had a very narrow-minded view.
Well, Renee was a belle.
Yeah.
She was evil and horrible. And we're just like, oh, get a job. Let him live his life, man. If he wants to become like a Sega Mega Drive champion, let him become a Sega Mega Drive champion. He's got a sweet dressing gown. And
He does.
he doesn't have to pay rent.
Yeah.
And then Gwen just don't care. She's like in a shopping
Trying on
centre,
panties.
trying on pants in the middle of the shop.
That's a direct cause of being busted in a changing room.
Yeah,
twice.
but she don't care. She's just like, you know what? Some guy like saw me tits earlier on. I'm not down with that. So
Saw my little rat nipples.
yes, saw my tiny rat nips. So you know what? I'm just gonna put some pants on over the pants that I'm already wearing, and then feel my own ass.
Yeah.
I feel you've taken my rat nipple suggestion and turned it into an insult.
Was that not what happened?
When I was talking about rat nipples, I was talking about a real live rat and sucking on its nipples.
Oh, right, okay.
I wasn't saying she had tiny rat nipples.
Sorry, that's all I took from it. So Gwen is a weird kind of... I feel like sometimes with Kevin Smith films, though, he's just... Well, when he went to make Chasing Amy, he went to speak to one of the producers and he was like, I want to make Chasing Amy. I've written this film. I want to put Ben Affleck, Jason Lee, and Joey Lauren Adams, I think her name is. And they're like, no, we want Drew Barrymore, David Schwimmer, and who was the other one? Jon Stewart. And he was like, no, that's not what I've written it for. And they're like, look, Kevin, making films isn't just hanging around with your friends. And he was like, why not? And I do kind of feel like he's like, I just want to hang around with my mates. Like, can I get a role for her in this film?
She makes a good
yeah,
character though. Like she used to bang TS,
Yeah.
and then like when they're setting up the dating show thing, like she goes backstage to Brandy and she's like, oh yeah, like you guys were so like good together. And
She does provide really good. She is a key character because she catches up with TS and Brody after Brody's hooked up with Renee, and she provides. She's much more worldly.
Yeah.
So while they focus a bit too much on the fact that she will have sex with anyone,
It's all the semen. It just makes her smart.
Yeah. All those unborn children in you.
Yeah, protein. Protein makes the brain grow.
But yeah, she's probably the most worldly out of anyone in this film. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else.
The woman with the 3 nipples.
I think
She's a sidekick, that's different.
Oh, right.
yeah, that's cheating.
Okay.
Renee tries to be all like worldly and like, oh, I know everything. Fuck off, and you're bathing in a toilet.
You really did not like her.
I did not like that character. I don't, to be honest, I don't like the actress. I've read so much about her being a bitch.
Yeah, apparently they didn't like her on set either. They were saying that she was a bit of a bitch.
Same with Charmed as well. Like some of the interviews that I've read with Rose McGowan, they were just like, yeah, she were a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting on the audio commentary that there's a bit where Kevin Smith says, "Oh, we haven't talked about Shannon's character. What did you guys think of her?" He leaves a bit of a pause and then he goes, "I didn't have any bad interactions with her." But he's
There's
saying
an
that
undertone.
he didn't have any. She was always nice to him, but it sounds like maybe he knew that there was something else, or was baiting other people to.
Well, he was paying her wage at the end of the day. Like
He was their manager.
Yeah, she's in the film because of him, so she's not going to be a prick to him. I couldn't think of a good word then.
But the Renee character, I kind of like to go against Brody. I don't know if I could picture anyone else being a believable.
She was the yin to his yang.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she got him out of his funk or whatever and got him to take some responsibility, which he did need because at the beginning, I was like, you are a bit of a layabout.
Definitely.
But did you see his dressing gown?
It was a sweet dressing gown.
Was it more of a? Is it more of a smoking jacket situation?
No.
Maybe.
It's too long to be a smoking jacket.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're smoking dressing gowns.
I think you're smoking anything.
I think we should consult Hugh Hefner. Oh wait.
Or Stanley. They're basically the same person.
Yeah, true. Stanley crushes it in this
Yeah,
film.
do you know what? That's a good cameo, apart from his wig.
Yeah.
Is it a wig?
What?
Is it?
Did you not notice that dodgy toupee?
No, I wasn't. I was quite enamoured by Stanley's.
Do you know what? It
It
was
could have,
either
like-
a wig or hair plugs or whatever, like the hair implants.
Yeah, I think it was too early for hair implants.
Well, I don't know. Some guy in
But
Cable
it's-
Guy has hair implants, and that's about that time.
But he's still got the only difference with his head of hair now is the fact that it's greyer. It's all grey rather than. The
You
dark
watch it
bit.
back again, and you'll notice that is a dodgy ass. He's probably got a wig now, but it's
Grey.
probably one of like the Marvel wigs that they get from a set or whatever.
I'd love it if
Storms. Just Storm's hair.
So I think that brings us on to the final part of the film, which is the game show. Brandy's put herself up for some kind of auction, like blind date.
Yeah.
Blind date.
Blind date.
Blind date.
Can't you remember on the show Blind Date?
Dee
Where
Dee.
the guy would always announce it and he'd be like, "Welcome to Blind Date."
No, not at all.
Yeah, and he would always overpronounce his
It
D's.
just reminded me of Babom.
Yeah, from
Ba-bum.
Mario. Fucking hell. Right, so they're doing the dating show. Truth or Date, is it called?
Yeah. And Jay gets the contestants to smoke all the doobies.
All but, is it Gil Hicks?
Oh, Gil.
Star of Clerks.
Good old Gil.
Gil.
Yeah,
Gil
we
with his sweet haircut.
one of 3 stars from Clerks that appeared in the film because you
Oh,
also
really?
had.
Oh, Jane Silent Bob.
Oh, I forgot. But actually, but you also had Walt Flanagan.
Oh, yeah, Steve Dave.
Yeah, he was the egg guy. In Clerks, you know, a guy who kept looking at eggs and like.
It got proper moist over eggs.
Yeah, you could definitely see his moist areas. And... yeah. Anyway, the blind date. I got us a bit sidetracked.
So
Yeah.
they overtake it, don't they? And
Yeah, so TS and Brody will go on in their place.
yeah. And Brody knocks out that guy, doesn't he?
Oh yeah,
punches him.
the PA guy.
Who is the producer of all of Kevin Smith's films?
Is he?
That's Scott Mosier.
First you take a run at LaFour's with the sock full of quarters. I'd do it, but I pulled my back out humping your mom last night. Neech. Okay, you clock him on his headpiece and knock his ass out cold. That's when phase 2 kicks in. I attack the structure, Wolvie Berserk style, knock out the fucking pin, and bickety bam, the motherfucker is rubble. Hence, no game show.
Well, at this point in the film, he's feeling pretty ill.
Oh, yeah, he's been stink palmed.
He got stink palmed to fuck. And he was, like, slobbering all over his fingers.
Oh, mate, he was making love to his hand.
That was grim. And again, from the audio commentary, Kevin Smith says that what happens now is people come up and try and stink palm him.
Oh,
Yeah,
who
but
even
tell
does
him.
that?
Yeah.
And
Oh, I'm
they're
going to
like,
stink palm you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
What?
what you
That's creepy.
How can you love the film so much that you think about doing it in real life and then do it to the person that you surely must love enough that because they created it? And
It did put me off chocolate pretzels for a while, though.
But you meant to do it to your enemies. Like, I'd stink palm an enemy.
I mean, I won't want, because he's on about, like, how the smell stays on the hand for a couple of days. Surely if it stays on someone else's hand for a few days, it's going to stay on your hand for a few
but that's
days.
what he says. He's like, it's a price worth paying,
Yeah.
basically.
I don't want my hand to smell like butt.
I think,
How shitty is his butt that it smells for 2 days?
well, I think the worrying thing is how diseased is his butt that within, like, hours, if not less, Michael Rooker's
got dysentery or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, butts are
Diphtheria.
dirty.
Yeah, diphtheria. Yeah.
Butts are dirty. It could have, like, been like, you know what, I've saved up all this poo. I'm going to go to the toilet. But instead of using toilet roll, I'm just going to use my fingers. And then not wipe.
And that action was Katty with two fingers doing a very scrubby action. It was more like trying to wash the underboard of something.
Trying to get a pound out of a trolley.
So Rooker's feeling quite ill at this point. Do you know what? The whole bit was the bit that, like, won me over as a kid. When I say kid, like teenager, whatever. When I was a teenager, if there was a film that was, and it's quite interesting going back to Kieren Johnson's original top 3 question about good films that were ruined by bad endings. When I was younger, if there was like a film where the ending had like a really, like, I don't know, heartwarming, I don't know, Kids Against the Man or whatever kind of ending.
Like Three
that
Ninjas.
Was it. That was it for me. I've never watched Three Ninjas all the way through. I'm thinking more like Empire Records.
Oh, okay.
You know, the end of Empire
Yeah.
Records where they sing on top of the
And they're
the
sticking it
record
to the
shop.
man.
And this where they take over the game show. That was it for me. I was just like, you've got me there, Kevin KS.
The bit where they introduced Brody and TS, but they introduced them as the names of the people who have replaced it. And one
Yeah.
of them's Doug, and Jay's in the background going, "Do it, Doug!"
Do you know what, right? There's certain things from films, and again, probably from when I'm younger, where it seeped into like my vocabulary that I still use to this day. And I often watch films from back when I was like younger, and I'm like, oh, that's where that came from. And there'll be times where me and my brother will be talking about something, and we'll be like, right, I'm going to go to this place on the weekend. And my brother or I will be like, yeah, do it, Doug. And we'll just say that, and we'll just drop it in and just be like, do it, Doug. And I was watching Mallrats last night, and I'm like, that's where it came from. And I'm sure there's loads of things from like Adam Sandler films, like Happy
Yeah.
Gilmore and Billy Madison.
But
That
this is so early, but it probably influenced. There's a lot of places it probably very much influenced those.
definitely.
I reckon.
Well, Liam Reagan, who was on last week's show,
Shout
watching his film My Bloody Banjo, there was a couple of bits where people said lines and they're like blah blah blah, no less. And I was like, that feels like a very Kevin Smith line.
yeah.
And I feel like Kevin Smith films did influence a lot of people. That kind of Tarantino era, Kevin Smith, Robert Rodriguez, they had a big influence over
Oh, totally.
the youth.
He was one of the earlier, because he came up and managed to make this like low budget back before. Now it's easier to make low budget with the accessibility, but this was one of the things where you got more of that youthful voice coming through of more direct influences, where before it'd be Spielberg and people like that who had influences, but they weaved it in a bit more subtle. This was like the starting of a bit closer to where we are now, where it's uber meta and everything is
Well,
feeding into
just
everything.
to interrupt you there, because I learnt something today watching like a little video about Kevin Smith, and he was saying that when he went to make Clerks, he dropped out of film school and went to a shop to buy some film, like rolls of film, and you got 15% off if you're a student. And him and Scott Mosier went, and they're like, can we see your student cards? And they're like, oh, have you got yours? No, have you got yours? And they're like, yeah, fuck off. So they went back to college, looked to see what were the cheapest like courses that they could like enroll themselves on, and the one that was cheapest was Understanding Your Homosexuality.
Nice.
So they both registered for the Understanding Your Homosexuality course that cost $70, and then went back and like, here's our student cards, and got the 15% off.
Do you reckon that's where the Gil Hicks Brody banter comes in? Where he's like, "Oh, I saw him hooking up with a guy backstage. I didn't
I'm
hook
not
up with
gay."
him. Yeah. Oh, so you hate gays? No. So you love them? Yes. No. Classic case of what is it?
Life imitating art.
Yeah.
I love the story that Brody tells about the plane.
Oh, where is his cousin
Walt?
Cousin Walt's wanking on the plane because the hydraulics go.
And then they kick back in.
But no, everyone else starts wanking on the plane first, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's wanking, everyone else is thinking, oh my God, we're going to die. So everyone else just... I want to know if it was just men or women.
No, because he said he was like, and then the guys pulled out their pieces and the women pulled out their whatever
bits.
or something like that. So I think everyone starts going
That's
at
the
it.
beauty as well. This is in the climax of the film, so they're building up to lots of things, and they managed to build in a mini climax of this little contained story. And you are like... where the fuck is he going with this?
And then Gil
And then
Hicks is
there's
like,
like,
did he
did he
come
come?
or what?
There's some things you don't talk about.
But
Also, I just wanted to point out, did you guys notice, Gil Hicks' answer to what he'd do for one of the dates was...
Oh, it was Shannon's date.
Yeah?
It was Shannon's date, like, taking him shopping to the places that they like to go, going to, like, the cheese place for food, and buying tickets for the opera.
The opera, yeah.
Cheese house for a meal, and something else. They're all things that literally Shannon said we've already been to the cheese house for a meal. We've got tickets to the opera.
And then they were driving somewhere to have, like,
and then introduce him to the mother as well.
I don't think that was Shannon's thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was in Gil's like dating plan thing. It was like driving to somewhere and doing some stargazing and putting the radio on and like slow dancing.
And he's like, that's the cheesiest response to an honest question I've ever heard.
That is a beautiful culmination of characters, that end scene, really.
It's all about a pint and a fight. That's how to woo a lady.
So then Willem comes along. He's got pissed off about the fact that he can't see the sailboat. He comes on, so beautifully set up earlier in the film, that all this thing keeps coming back to him. Well, you sat there thinking, well, why do we care about his magic eye? And then he comes along, the Jedi mind trick's been set up, and then he boots the stage. The video goes up, and then we see... In fact, actually, what version of the Shannon Hamilton video did you see?
It was the one where Trish was laid in the front, Shannon was behind her.
Was he talking about New Kids on the Block?
He wasn't talking about New Kids on the Block.
Okay.
It was just asking her to call him two different names. I can't remember what names there were.
Yeah,
So
that might be it,
It's for bits, but it's cut down from the...
So he doesn't
version.
say, do you like New Kids on the Block?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, it's essentially the same scene, just longer.
Oh, right, okay then. So in the end, the two couples get back together.
Yeah.
And then we cut to a nice little Weezer ending where you see what they're all going through. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we...
I mean, do you feel that they earn the couples getting... Like, do you think there's a sufficient reason the couples got back together? It was a big romantic gesture at the end by both of them, kind of. Mm-hmm. But how's it?
No, I mean, no part of me thinks these are going to stay together forever.
Well,
it's just on-off relationship.
T.S. and Brandy got wifed up after graduation.
Yeah, might not last though.
Super wifed.
Super wifed at the Jaws bit at Universal Studios.
Second only to Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Oh yeah, everyone loves Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Brody and Renee.
Well, they start a chat show, don't they?
Yeah, she's the drummer, even though she can't play drums for shit.
Yeah, and then Jay and Silent Bob walk off with the
Suzanne.
Oh, and we also get Shannon. He gets because the videotape shows him banging Trish for Dish.
Yeah,
who is 15, and she's like, "Oh, what? She's 15?
I thought she was 35."
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, wouldn't you have popped her?"
Yeah.
See, Ben Affleck, quality. So on that note, let's have a look to see where we're going to put the film. Katty, do you feel like this film is spoilt milk, or is it ascended into a fine, luxurious cheese?
This is camembert. Straight up baked camembert.
What, baked in the oven,
Baked
some
in the-
French stick in it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, not even French stick, but you're going to go all out. Pigs in blankets.
Pigs in blankets in camembert?
Yeah.
Oh, you are just another level.
I feel like I'm having a heart attack listening to how beautiful that sounds.
That's my Christmas sorted.
So it feels like we should have an actual visible physical scale.
What,
here.
Like
a
a
scale of
cheese,
cheese?
like a cheese scale.
Like red Leicester at the bottom with camembert and brie at the top?
Oh no, I was just thinking like movies like
Right.
on a flat board, but no, I prefer
A cheese board?
yeah, with such great movies as
Wild Wild
The
West?
Legend of Bag of Pants at the top. But yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Katty with position and just pinnacle of if anything, watching that horrible version only made me appreciate the actual version of Mallrats more of how well put together it is. Just that's all I've got to say on the matter. And also, I want some cheese.
Yeah. For me then, so I know this film's already luxurious cheese. So it's just, I've just got to put my finishing touches on it. 100% luxurious cheese. I love this film. The version that I watched wasn't great. But again, like you said, made me appreciate the original. I loved it as a teenager and I love it now. I think it's fucking ace. I had a Jay and Silent Bob figures when I was younger that I got my brother to record some sounds from. Yeah, I just think it's a great film and definitely luxurious cheese.
Yeah.
So that's it. Is that our first film?
That's our first
Our
ever
first
unanimous
film that
film.
isn't spoilt milk.
Yeah, I think we actually. Well, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when we thought about doing this, I was like, oh. Well.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's not our first film that's not.
No.
It's our first unanimous.
Yeah, it's first unanimous.
Why?
It.
Oh, right, okay.
We liked
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
But this is our first film that we all
agree.
Yeah.
On. Yeah.
high five.
Hey!
Is that gonna wait? There we go. No, now it's gonna sound like we were all five.
Okay.
We only need one clap.
Well, you just do a clap then. You just do a clap then and make it sound like we're all high fiving.
You pieces of shit.
So on that note, the first film that we've all agreed is ascended into a fine luxurious cheese. It's 1995.
95?
Mallrats. Good one, Kevin Smith.
Woo!
Snoochie boochies, this is Sean Connery here, selling up some of the finest weed.